hello. Thank you so much for joining us on Passion today. I'm your host, Britt, and today we have with us a fascinating family that own Blackstone Audio. We have with us Craig Black, who is founder and CEO of Blackstone Audio, his wife, Michelle, who is the vice president of Blackstone Audio. Then we have Josh and Stephanie Stanton. Josh is the current president of Blackstone Audio, and Stephanie runs the entire creative services department, all by herself. So welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Good to be
thank
here.
you.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you came on. I understand you had your Christmas party yesterday.
We did.
Yes, the
Last
entire
night.
company.
It was a big rollicking party.
All right. So
Yes.
you were downtown kind of till all hours?
Yeah, the Ashland Springs Hotel.
Okay. So we're lucky to have you here today, huh?
You could say that.
Our energy might be a little low today.
That's okay. You guys are a lot of fun. I'm sure the audience will pick up on your energy as we go along. We have a birthday boy, Craig. I
Yes.
understand it's your birthday today.
It is. I turned 38 today.
Wow, congratulations.
I figure I wasted the first 20 years of my life, so 21
no.
years. So
Yeah, well, a lot of us have issue with that.
Yeah.
So catch up. Well, we do have a little cake. It's gluten-free chocolate torte, and it was so thick that your wife and I could barely get 4 candles in it. So I guess if you're 38, that's about a candle per decade.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, right,
Sure.
right.
All right. Well, we'll light that at the end, and maybe I
Okay,
can
well,
get
thank
you
you.
guys to sing with me if I'm lucky. Well, why don't you just start out a little bit, Craig, and tell us a little bit about this family business and how it came to be and how it's mushroomed into this giant endeavor from a little home-based business back in the 80s when you all came here.
Right, right. Well, Michelle and I were living down in Los Angeles. We had our firstborn child was in 1987, and it was at that point in time when we decided that it was time to make a move, to leave the corporate world and start our own business venture, which we did, and we moved up to Ashland in. Actually, we decided. We made a preliminary trip up here in '87, but we decided to actually move here in '88.
Okay.
So we were here in February of '88. It was really when we kind of launched the business.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
Congratulations.
grown quite nicely, and now we have, it's such a blessing. We actually have family members who are involved in the business, and it's grown to be about I think we have, how many people, Josh? About 150?
Somewhere thereabouts, yeah.
About 150 people working.
Wow, congratulations again. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people do come up first, fall in love with it here,
Yes.
and then bring the whole caravan. So-
Yeah, yeah.
And it's exciting to have your family so involved.
It is. It is. It started off, in '88 with just Michelle and me, and we never dreamed that it would be what it is today.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No idea, huh?
no idea,
Wow.
But
And Josh was a 12-year-old or so playing basketball in your driveway when he was a young boy. He knew he wanted to do this, and now he's president.
yes.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. Congratulations to you too, Josh.
Hey, thanks.
All right. I understand that you are pretty much in charge of all the new technology and all the exciting things going on with the apps. And, tell
Absolutely.
the audience a little bit about that.
Well, apps, we launched some apps this year with Folium Partners, who are also based here in Ashland, Oregon. And today we have about 1,000 apps in the Apple iTunes App Store, which, to my knowledge, is the most apps any audiobook publisher has in there. So pretty excited about it.
Wow.
Sales have been good, and we're optimistic they're going to get better. And so we're starting to look at new devices like the Android platform now.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Changing times.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And you two are raising a family. Stephanie, how is it raising your kids while you're managing an entire department?
It's definitely challenging at times. You kind of feel like you're rushing in one area and then rushing to try to figure out what to do in the next area, and always a little bit overwhelmed, but it's good. I mean, both places are really great. I love my kids and I love my work, so just have to figure out how to make it all work together.
Yeah.
So another generation into the family business will be coming along then.
Yes.
Yep.
Hopefully so.
Wow, well, congratulations to you too. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah. How many people in your department, Stephanie?
There's, let's see, 10 people in my department.
Okay. So you manage them, manage a household, husband, how many children?
She tries to manage it.
Yeah. I don't know, I've heard he's unmanageable.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, there's. We've got 2 kids. We've got a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old. So,
Excellent.
yeah, we're adjusting to having 2, which it's a lot more work.
Michelle, you raised your family
A
from
little
the
handful.
80s on. Yes, big handful.
A big handful.
A
We
big
have
handful.
5 children. The youngest is now 15, and the oldest is 23. And when the oldest was just a baby, as Craig referred to, we were starting the business. So I was answering phones with the baby in the background and trying to duplicate tapes and package and ship out books. And our first catalog was actually 2 pages, typewritten, 12 titles.
Oh my gosh.
Not too fancy, but that it launched the business.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Well, we are going to look at a clip here, speaking of the business, that I believe will show the audience a little bit of what the actual building looks like. And it goes on forever. I've been in there. It is giant. So, Josh, why don't you fill the audience a little bit in more than I just did, what we can expect to see here in this clip.
Sure. This clip starts out just showing a few clips of Ashland, and then it's going to show you our building, and then take you kind of a little quick walk through the building, and then show you some of the machines and processes that we use to create the books. So you're going to see some of the people, some of the things we do, and I think you have a pretty good understanding after you see it what we do.
Okay, great. And then when we come back, we're going to speak a little bit about the actual narration.
Absolutely.
And the process. So you actually in-house also manufacture all these tapes.
We do just about everything in house. I mean, we're a publisher, but we can be a production facility as well. So
Amazing. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and roll clip 1 when you guys are ready. I didn't know you guys had that much machinery there. I've never seen the machinery parts of the building, evidently. That's a lot of machinery.
We'll have to give you a tour, Britt.
I would like a full tour.
Yes,
So
we need a
all
full
of these are produced right there.
Everything.
Everything, even the outside.
Everything.
The packaging, the
Yes,
inside
yes,
labels.
Yes.
My goodness. No wonder you need 150 people.
Yes.
All right. I see Ian Fleming's Goldfinger over there behind you. That was one of the first movies that James Bond movie I ever saw.
Yeah. I think it was one of the first I saw, too.
Well, that's a lot of equipment.
It is. We are pretty much vertically integrated. I don't know of too many businesses during these days that is as integrated vertically as we are. Why that happened, I think, is because of Josh. Josh realized that we don't really have the opportunity to make 100 of these or so at a time, or 200, unless you do them yourself. If you send them out, you've got to get 5,000 done.
Right.
So this allows us to
Quality control, too.
Yeah, you bet. Keep our inventories down.
Excellent. And proud Americans, you're not shipping over to have China
Right,
put
right.
together parts and whatnot.
right.
That's great, keeping it on the economy.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, in a minute, we're going to speak about the narration process, and in a few minutes, show a clip of the gentleman Grover, who actually has the job, I understand, of kind of picking who gets to narrate the audiobooks. But I'll let you explain that a little more, Josh.
Okay.
Yeah, before we get to that. But after seeing all the equipment, I'm reminded of a story, Michelle, that you mentioned to me. Two stories, actually. One, the narration process. You used to, before you guys got so big, you had all the narration in the actors' homes. Mm-hmm. How did that work? You set up sound booths in your own home?
Well, technically, I'm probably not the person that could answer the technological side of that, but my memory is that we moved up here from Southern California with a certain amount of money in our pocket and no income. And we had very grandiose ideas about how much we could record for how much money. And upon learning how expensive it was to hire a studio with all that was involved in that, we quickly came to the bottom of our money pile, shall we say. And Craig was actually talking about putting together a resume and going back to work. And then we fortunately crossed paths with one of our current narrators who taught us sort of a trade secret of in-house studios. And so Craig researched and learned how to go about doing that so that cut out a lot of the cost.
Wonderful.
And he didn't have to go back to work.
Wonderful.
And we continued recording books.
Excellent. That was pretty brave, just to hop in the car and have these big
Or stupid.
plans and dreams. Well, look at you now. We'll call it brave for sure. Courageous even.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for explaining that. That must have been quite a learning curve.
The learning curve was probably the steepest learning curve we have ever experienced. Yeah.
And that was in the late 80s.
Late
87,
80s.
Somewhere in there. Excellent.
Yeah.
And one other story. Tell the audience a story about how you used to pack up the kids and go to the P.O. box.
Well, we knew when we moved, we couldn't afford to live in Ashland. We
At
bought
first,
we bought our house, a little fix-up house in Medford that had the ability to be divided into family part of the house and the business part of the house. But we wanted our business mailing address to be Ashland, just so that it was associated with the Shakespeare Festival and whatnot.
I see.
And so our business mailing address was actually a P.O. box. So we would have to drive into town to get our mail, and in those days, it was before computer generated orders, believe it or not. It makes me feel really old. But people would send in by mail their order with a check to our P.O. box. So we made a big event out of packing all the little kids into the car and driving from Medford, the big long drive from Medford to Ashland on Saturdays to
pick up your
our
orders.
pick up our mail, and go to our favorite bakery, which no longer exists, but was called Manna from Heaven. And we would open our mail and count our orders.
Wow.
It was very exciting.
And see if we could last one more week.
That's really building from the ground up.
Right.
Absolutely. How exciting.
It was fun.
So to bring us about, 20 years in the future here, Josh, tell us a little bit about the projects that you have going. I've heard a little bit about the Zorro project with Val Kilmer. Tell our audience a little bit about what that is.
Sure. Well, we've produced about 716 titles in 2010. With a bunch of special different projects in there. Some Stephen.
716 titles just in 2010?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we've done Stephen King and a couple other things, but one that really stands out this year is The Mark of Zorro, with Val Kilmer starring in it. And so it took us a long time trying to cast that lead role. We knew we wanted a name to be in the project, and we were able to work something out with Val. And he's got a great supporting cast in there as well.
Excellent.
Yeah,
so you've met him?
I did not. Our son was being born.
Oh wow! You can't pass that up.
The same week. The same week we were doing the recording, so I wasn't able to be part of the actual recording process. But
well, your son will be forever grateful that you chose him first.
Chose him.
His middle name going to be Zorro, or I guess that's already decided.
Right.
Wow.
No,
well,
but
that must be a fun project.
It is a fun project. We do a few of these a year. Last year we did The Maltese Falcon with Michael Madsen starring as Sam Spade, which fortunately we were able to get a Grammy nomination out of that. And so we kind of have those hopes for Zorro.
You got a Grammy nomination out of that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so
exciting.
Our first one, so we're pretty excited about it.
Wow. Wow, okay. Yeah. Well, I bet there are more to come.
Hopefully.
Well, we only have a few more minutes besides this other clip that we're going to see. I imagine every audience member wants to know how they can be a narrator at Blackstone Audio. So this will tell the audience a little bit about the process. And go ahead and fill them in if there's something I missed. Josh, Grover Gardner is going to be... Yeah,
Grover Gardner is just an amazing narrator, and we actually brought him out to be our studio director and help coach some of our new narrators. And in this clip, you'll see him do a little reading of Mark Twain's autobiography.
Okay.
And then he'll just talk a little bit about how he goes about casting, and I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super. All right, then let's go ahead and roll clip 2, a little bit about the casting at Blackstone Audio.
Studio director at Blackstone Audio, it's a bit of a catch-all term. Basically, cast and the audiobooks, and I supervise the production of the audiobooks, and I also narrate myself.
As I have said, I spent some part of every year at the farm until I was 12 or 13 years old. The life which I led there with my cousins was full of charm, and so is the memory of it yet. I can call back the solemn twilight and mystery of the deep woods, the earthy smells, the faint odors of the wildflowers, the sheen of rain-washed foliage, the rattling clatter of drops when the wind shook the trees, the far-off hammering of woodpeckers, and the muffled drumming of wood pheasants in the remotenesses of the forest, the snapshot glimpses of disturbed wild creatures scurrying through the grass. I can call it all back and make it as real as it ever was, and as blessed. I can call back the prairie, and its loneliness and peace, and a vast hawk hanging motionless in the sky, with his wings spread wide and the blue of the vault showing through the fringes of their end feathers. I can see the woods in their autumn dress, the oaks purple, the hickories washed with gold, the maples and the sumacs luminous with crimson fires, and I can hear the rustle made by the fallen leaves as we plowed through them. I can see the blue clusters of wild grapes hanging amongst the foliage of the saplings, and I remember the taste of them and the smell. I know how the wild blackberries looked and how they tasted, and the same with the pawpaws, the hazelnuts, and the persimmons. And I can feel the thumping rain upon my head of hickory nuts and walnuts when we were out in the frosty dawns to scramble for them with the pigs, and the gusts of wind loosed them and sent them down. The stain of blackberries and how pretty it is, and I know the stain of walnut hulls and how little it minds soap and water, also what grudged experience it had of either of them. I know the taste of maple sap and when to gather it, and how to arrange the troughs and the delivery tubes, and how to boil down the juice, and how to hook the sugar after it is made. Also, how much better hooked sugar tastes than any that is honestly come by. Let bigots say what they will.
I sort of have a wide range of different sounds and styles. But more importantly, I really internalize the book. In other words, I read the book. If it's a tough thriller, tough guy detective, I kind of look around inside myself and I find that cynical, tough guy. I'm not physically a tough guy, but we all have a tough guy in our heads who wouldn't mind, knocking a few heads together, and gee, I get to do that for a couple hundred pages. So it's fun. On the other hand, if I was a brilliant student of philosophy and history writer, I can be Will Durant for 10 or 12 hours, and that's very satisfying too. So really, it's the art of kind of taking the book and finding that part of yourself that finds it entertaining and interesting and reflects a part of yourself that you would like to be for 10 or 12 hours. The first thing I do is I look at the book and I see what kind of person we're looking for, what kind of narrator, male, female, certain foreign language skills or a certain type of voice for a detective novel or for a romance novel or what have you. And then I look through my stable of regular people that I know I can depend on to do a great job for us. And usually I pick about the closest person who satisfies what I'm looking for. For that reason, I maintain a pretty broad range of voices in the stable. And sometimes we have to go out and find somebody new. Maybe somebody with a certain ethnic background or with certain particular language skills. Maybe they need to speak Iranian, Persian. So sometimes it involves quite a lengthy search, and then it's a lot of work because often that person is not a professional narrator. The professional narrator has developed a very specific skill set that allows them to not only read the book out loud, but to bring that, to lift that print off the page and make it come alive in a very personal way. Most of them, all of them really, are very well-read people. They are very literate people. They're good. They're not only good actors and good readers and good storytellers, but they're also good literary critics. It's important as a narrator to be well-read, to understand why Hemingway sounds like Hemingway, or why Faulkner writes like Faulkner, or why Danielle Steele writes like Danielle Steele. You have to understand the difference in styles and approaches and how that book ought to sound, how it should come across for the customer. And that's pretty much any company, audiobook company, that maintains a big catalog of books the way we do, and produces the number of books we do every year. You're very dependent on these smart, intelligent, well-read people who understand what the job is when it comes to narration.
Amazing. So now you're going to have a new flock of people coming down wanting to audition. Well, we only have about 50 seconds, so Craig, I ask that you blow out the candles on your birthday cake.
Oh, my.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear husband. Happy birthday to you.
Wow, thank you. I've never had a birthday celebration on TV.
It's a first.
Well, I'm glad here on Passion we could be the first for you.
Thank you, Britt.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We appreciate all of you so much. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our audience has too. Think you might come back with us another time?
We would love to, wouldn't we, Josh?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Plenty of data for a new segment.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Okay.
Britt. Thanks for
Pleasure.
having us.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And to you too.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Passion.